The battle for control of the eastern city of Bakhmut continues. Russia has acknowledged that Ukraine has gained a territorial advantage in the fighting, with Ukrainian troops said to be advancing on the Donetsk side. Russia's defense ministry said its air force had made little headway, but acknowledged that Ukraine was continuing its counterattacks near Bodanivka, 3 miles northwest of the city, and Ivanivsk, 4 miles to the west. However, the head of the Wagner mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, disputed claims of territorial gains by Ukraine and criticized the Russian Defense Ministry for misrepresenting it as backing down from jockeying for a new position. East Ukraine Forces Group spokesman Serhiy Cherevity said Ukrainian forces had advanced up to 500 meters towards Bakhmut in a day, liberating Ukrainian soil, according to the Suspilny news agency. Despite not having the advantage in equipment or personnel, we beat them, said Cherevity. A video footage shows the Ukrainian Armed Forces destroying a Russian BMP-3 infantry fighting vehicle. The BMP-3 is a fairly formidable vehicle, armed with twin 130mm guns and 3 machine guns. But when his own ammunition exploded, he was blown to smithereens. In turn, blogger and volunteer Serhiy Sternenko published another video in which a kamikaze FPV drone, purchased with donations from Ukraine, at least incapacitates another Raider BMP. Over the past day, the Russian military carried out 42 airstrikes and 101 strikes from salvo rocket systems. In addition, 15 missile strikes by Russian troops were carried out on Bakhmut, Kherson and Odesa, said the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the morning report of May 18. The General Staff informed that over the past few days, Ukraine has carried out 20 sorties in areas where military personnel and equipment were concentrated, 8 of them on enemy anti-aircraft missile systems, and 2 Orlan 10 reconnaissance UAVs were also destroyed. In the last 18 hours, missile and artillery units of the Ukrainian Armed Forces hit enemy artillery units in firing positions, as well as a command post, 6 manpower concentration points, 2 ammunition depots, 2 fuel and lubricant depots, 2 anti-aircraft defenses, and 2 other important targets of the Russian invaders. In turn, the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces said that its tankers destroyed another ammunition depot of the Wagner private military company near Bakhmut. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported this in an evening summary published on the official page of the social network Facebook. Ukraine's Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar said that the Ukrainian military still controlled 7.7 square miles of newly acquired land on the outskirts of Bakhmut. Maliar also reported Ukrainian advances in the area, although he acknowledged that Russian troops had some success inside the town of Bakhmut. Although Ukrainian troops have successfully counterattacked around Bakhmut, Russian forces are likely committed to strengthening their offensive efforts in the area, according to the Institute for the Study of War. The pro-Kremlin Rybar military analysis channel called on Russian forces to react to Ukraine's actions, implying that Moscow's forces are losing the initiative in the Bakhmut area. A great battle took place on the side of Bakhmut. Read a post on Telegram by Rybar, in which both sides poured in more and more new forces. Unfortunately, we were in a position to play around and follow the lead of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, attracting the most experienced units of the Russian army to the Bakhmut meat grinder, the post said. Meanwhile, Yevgeny Prigozhin, head of Russia's Wagner mercenary group, on Thursday accused regular units of the Russian army of retreating 570 meters north of the eastern Ukrainian city of Bakhmut, leaving behind its own fighting wing. Wagner's forces had spearheaded the offensive on Bakhmut, one of the bloodiest and longest battles of the war, in what Moscow called a special military operation. with some support from the regular army in recent months. Prigozhin, who has repeatedly accused Russian military brass of not doing enough to support his men, called on the defense ministry to do all it could to protect Bakhmut's flank after what he suspected was a withdrawal. Wagner is said to have taken most of the destroyed city, albeit with heavy casualties. But Ukraine says its troops have recaptured the area around Bakhmut in recent days. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported on May 18 that Russia had lost 201,100 troops in Ukraine since the start of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes the 510 casualties suffered by Russian forces over the past few days. Some Russian strawmen may have intimidated Wagner mercenary group founder Yevgeny Prigozhin to curb his influence and political ambitions, the Institute for the Study of War said in a recent report. Meanwhile, both Russia and Ukraine have had little to say about their own losses, and casualty estimates vary widely. But it is also likely that Ukraine has also suffered heavy casualties in the nearly 15-month conflict. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that minimizing further casualties in his country's armed forces was a high priority for him, and was one of the reasons why the much-anticipated Kyiv counteroffensive had been postponed. Russia may need tens or even hundreds of thousands of troops to start on the offensive again, not to mention better equipment. Russian War Museum curators have watched in horror as their treasure rolled to the front lines. On the other hand, commander of the Ukrainian ground forces, Oleksandr Syrsky, confirmed that a new phase had begun, calling it the first successful offensive operation during the Bakhmut defensive operation. However, this is only partial success, and that's how it should feel, he wrote. Back in November, the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, said Russia had likely suffered more than 100,000 casualties. The same may be on the Ukrainian side, he added. In March 2023, Milley labeled the town of Bakhmut in eastern Donetsk, which has seen months of the war's fiercest fighting, as an orgy of slaughter for Russian troops. But the city, considered a violent epicenter of the ongoing war, is also believed to have taken a toll on Ukraine.